Well, good Wednesday to each and every one of you. I am Susan Zollinger. I am a practitioner in training here at Center for Spiritual Living, La Crescenta. And today's metaphysical lesson is a follow-up on Rev Bev's lesson of Sunday, Be Who You Are, Love. I thought I would first start out as this was when we'd done Sundays, it was Valentine's Day, and I thought I would just contribute a little bit of trivia on Saint Valentine, who, as everybody seems to suppose, was a patron saint of lovers, but that is not at all who he was. He was a bishop in Italy in about the 3rd century, and he ministered because the Christians at that time were still kind of an underground religion. The Roman Empire was still the ruling class and the ruling government of the day, and they were not into that Christianity stuff. So Saint Valentine was a bishop of Interamna, which is now Terni in Italy. And he would be there for those Christians and be helping them work on their faith and keep up the good works. And so the legend of Saint Valentine is that he had been imprisoned by a judge. And what had happened is that as they were discussing, I'm sure, Christianity versus the religion of the Roman Empire, this judge put a proposition to Saint Valentine that if he could heal his blind daughter, then the judge was much more willing to listen to what Saint Valentine had to say. And so it happened that Saint Valentine prayed over this daughter and she regained her sight. And in doing so, the judge, in his gratitude, decided to not only become baptized and become a Christian, but he had his whole family, he had his whole household convert to Christianity at that time. Now, there is also Saint Valentine kind of has been related to hearts and the little notes that we send to each other as Valentine notes. And what that came from, and this again is part of the legend because they weren't really writing things at the time, is that in order to encourage those underground Christians, he would cut out hearts out of parchment and send them along with these Christians so that he could buoy their faith and know that God was with them. The heart of God was with them. And February 14th was actually his day of execution because, you know, when these things go on in a government that isn't in sync with that and open-minded with the religion of others, he was captured and imprisoned and eventually martyred by Claudius Gothicus. Quite an interesting name. And that was on February 14th of the year 269. So just to give you a little interesting history on Saint Valentine, and at least in the Roman Catholic religion, this Saint Valentine is actually the patron saint of those people who have epilepsy. So that's a little trivia and little story here. So be who you are, love. So certainly Saint Valentine was showing his love and trying to instill the love of God in those early Christians because they were being persecuted at the time. And there is another, what do I want to say? There was another thought that came into my mind and another place to look to describe loving acts and how we show love to one another. And when we do show love to one another, that is coming from the place within ourselves that place of love, that place where we are God-centered. So I looked online and came across, actually I had been told about this once before, about the 5 love languages. And it is a book by Dr. Gary Chapman, and he has a website of the same name. And there are 5 different ways that we can show one another love. And those 5 different ways are, and each of these ways resonate to a large degree or a smaller degree with different people. We all have different ways we want to receive love, and other people have different ways that they would like to receive love. And when we can communicate this with one another, we can expand that loving relationship. We can expand our knowledge of that other person because we can communicate better by showing these different ways of love, especially if we are tuned in to whoever it might be. It might be a partner, it might be a child, it might be the people at work. And when we come from that loving place and we can show them love and support and appreciation through these different methods, and we can tune into what resonates with them, we can deepen that friendship. We can deepen that relationship, whether it be child or coworker or partner. So the 5 different love languages, the first one is words of affirmation. So if I give you a compliment, you look great today, your eyes sparkle, you've got the glow of health, you look wonderful. And hopefully that would resonate with you. That is words of affirmation. Some people need that a little bit more than other methods. So the next one then is acts of service. What can I do for you? And especially maybe as we are watching this other person, maybe we can see that there is something that they need help with, and we can jump in. We can help them without being asked. That's one of the ways that really resonates with me. Boy, I hate doing dishes, and if somebody can do those dishes for me, ooh, yeah, I'm going to shine a lot of loving light on that person. And another way is receiving gifts. You know, it's not just Christmas or just Valentine's or just Easter or any of those other times that we traditionally give gifts, but sometimes, you know, having just a little something from somebody who said, I was thinking about you, or I saw this and it so reminded me of you that I decided I would get this for you. Completely out of the blue. Doesn't that make you feel good? Somebody was thinking about you right in that moment and they just had to do something about that. That is a wonderful feeling. Number 4 is quality time. And that could be hanging out with your best buddy, watching TV, going to a movie, going out to dinner, having a nice conversation, taking a long drive. I mean, it doesn't have to be a doing thing. It can be. You can take a walk in the park, go hiking. There's all kinds of ways to spend quality time. And in this pandemic that we have had lots of downtime and lots of times to spend with our partners and our loved ones, or even just by ourselves, there are still ways to spend quality time. I had, my mother would have turned 102 on the 30th of January. And since we couldn't have a regular memorial service for her or a regular funeral as she probably would have wanted, had things been different, we could only have the allowed 10 people at graveside. I decided that I would get my most immediate family, my brothers and their children, together just to have a little celebration of life. And of course, we Zoomed it. And it was just great to see everyone there, just all together. And it seemed to really be a wonderful thing for everyone else. There were smiles all around. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience to celebrate my mom. Everybody was telling a little story that they knew about her, one thing or another. And it was just a fine time. So try and spend quality time with those that you love. And then lastly, physical touch. You know, we think of holding hands with our children or our grandchildren when they're young, and giving them a hug. And with our immediate family in this time of pandemic, we can, as you know, safely give each other hugs. But I've also seen pictures of families who haven't seen each other. Maybe they've been out of the country and they managed to hug each other by putting up a plastic sheet between this person and another person, and they could hug and give that love back to each other because they hadn't seen each other for so long. But right now, you know, we can't just do that to just anybody. We still have to be cautious and safe, but we can still touch each other by giving each other a look. We can touch each other with those words of affirmation, those compliments that we can give one another. And when we're not wearing a mask and being safely distanced, we can smile at one another. We can touch each other that way. That's still saying, I see you, I appreciate you, I'm here to support you, I know that you are a loving child of God, just as I am. So let's try and use these words of affirmation or acts of service or receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch whenever we can. And let's deepen our love and express this love to one another this way, because you know it is a beautiful circulation. I give to you, you smile back, and you give to me. I can hug you or not hug you right now, but I can show you maybe just above my mask, and you just see that my eyes are smiling at you, and that means I see you, I appreciate you, I love you. And you return that love to me. And so that is how we all can be exactly who we are. We are the love that put us right here, right now. We are the love of God expressing. And so it is.